Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest Gold, the best weekly Stardom and Marigold podcast anywhere in the world. I'm, as always, Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. Depending on when this comes out, it's like 4 days in a row of listening to me. I'm sorry. But and that's if you listen to all of them. But yeah, this is another special episode this week because this week is hectic as hell. We're gonna be talking about the DreamStar. Gonna be talking about the DreamStar. We
Hell
we
yeah.
were trying to get people on like we do usually. Usually get Scott on for tournament for the 5-star preview. But that was not in the cards for
It's my fault, in
for this one.
fairness. We were going to do this on Thursday. It is currently Tuesday, and I was also an hour and a half late. So our guest was like, I have to go,
Yeah.
which we knew anyway. We knew that they had to go, but we thought we'd be done. But obviously, I wasn't
Which,
here. So,
funnily, we initially were gonna have 6-star on, but then
yeah,
we quickly realized that it's college move-in week for like everybody
well,
in the
I
world.
didn't know that, but
Uh,
Dylan knew that.
I realized I was like, huh, all my friends back home are moving back to. Oh fuck, that means 6-star is too. So so we were like, well, that's not gonna work. And then yeah, it's been a mess, guest wise. So it's just the two of us, um, which tried and true, if you will.
Hell yeah. This is probably going to air after our regular episode. So, if you're wondering why things are maybe out of place, or if we say something and you're like, why didn't you mention that, or you said that already? It's because we're doing this show first. But then we'll do the normal Stardom Quest after the
Yeah, it's
quarterfinals.
it's gonna be
So,
crazy when Tsukasa Fujimoto replaces Nagisa Nozaki tomorrow in the
yeah,
tournament. And it's like,
yeah,
oh,
that's crazy. She's on hiatus though, so
exactly.
that
That's
wouldn't
why
make
it's like it's the
yeah.
most not possible thing happens.
But this show is all about the Marigold Grand Prix. We haven't had a chance recently to really dive into Marigold, which is a shame because I mean it's still a really exciting company and there's a lot of fun stuff going on. But just the 5-star was all consuming for a
Mhm.
while there. But we're here. We're going to talk about the Marigold GP. I'm excited. Dylan is excited. I'm just happy to not be watching Brotheress anymore. Like the life has meaning again. So
Briefly, since this is the first time we've talked since All In, did you cry when Brian Danielson won or was going to win?
No, no, but I did sit there with my hands over my face for a little bit in
Yeah,
shock.
yeah.
So yeah,
Man,
it was a moment. I had a
I
moment.
started wailing. I don't even know
Yeah,
why. I started wailing. It was a beautiful moment.
it was really cold, so I don't think I could have cried. It was really cold in the venue. Like the last year for All In, it was really warm that weekend. This year, not so much. It pissed rain on Saturday. I was soaking wet at Eve. I had to go to Rev Pro, and then Sunday was just cold. So not fun at all. So yeah, I
Se
couldn't have cried
second
even if I wanted to.
second question, did you feel the presence of Aja Kong? Just just
Oh,
like
dude,
just
she's
spiritually.
I've seen her before, in person,
Oh, yeah, I
so
forgot you
I
did.
know what she's like. But this was different because the first time I saw her, like I knew of Azure Kong, but I hadn't watched Azure Kong as much. Whereas
Mhm.
obviously this time I was like, this is the greatest wrestler who's ever lived. So it was a lot more mind blowing this time. And yeah, she was in like a whole nother league. Like her Himawari, funny enough, Himawari like really stands out in person. And Miyu Yamashita. Miyu Yamashita is a monster in person. And yeah, they all stood out.
Himawari is my girl forever. I love Himawari. She's great.
Yeah, yeah, no, like I can't say enough positive things about her. Her forearms as well in
Mhm.
person, like it sounds like she's gonna hurt somebody. It is crazy. So yeah, it was fun. Eve was great. Eve was great. It was worth the suffering for everything else. um But yeah, we should get on to Marigold. People aren't here for me
Yes.
to rag on RevPro. Um, Grand Prix, not the Marigold Grand Prix, the DreamStar Grand Prix. It's split into the two blocks, as we know. The Dream League is Utami Hayashishita, Mirai, Natsumi Shozuki, Koki, Chika Goto, Nagisa Nozaki, Victoria Yuzuki, and Nori. And the Star League is Sari Mikoy Ono, Nanai Takahashi, Bozilla, Mai Sakurai, Misa Matsui, Chiaki, and Kizuna Tanaka. Now, this is a pretty condensed tournament that starts on the 31st of August and ends on the 28th of September. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 dates. One of those is a double header, as far as I'm aware. Um, so it's a very like
Yes.
short, sweet, just get in, get out tournament, and I'm really into that. Um, Best place to start really is where we always start. Who are the favorites to win? So we're gonna go from three up to one. If you have three, that's that you can do that. If you don't have three, that's fine because I don't know if there's really that many contenders. Do you want to go first or will I?
Are we gonna do dark horse picks as well? Because I could move
Feel like
one.
there's less dark horses in this, but if
I
you
feel like
want to, I
the
won't
one the
bite your hand
singular
off.
dark horse, I'll say it as my third.
Okay.
Realistic third is like Utami. I don't think
Yeah.
she's winning, but like, it's Utami. She can win. Like it's possible. But dark horse would be Nanai. I
Yeah.
am
For
still
sure.
I'm still pretty like I don't think it's that impossible. It's hard looking at her block like actually like match for match. It becomes more difficult
Yeah.
just because it's like just mathematically it's a bit like, but I don't think that like Nanai is out of the realm of possibility, and I would be super happy if Nanai won this tournament. So she's the dark horse third pick, and kind of tied with Utami in that third spot for me.
All right, that's fair enough. Yeah, I don't rule out Nanai, but I also think she's gonna wrestle Sari either way. They've kind of
Yeah,
set that up
exactly.
in a way. So I think they're just gonna do her getting her world title shot regardless, and she doesn't need to win the Grand Prix.
That's how I'm
But
looking at it as well. But also
yeah, like
like, it's
to a
Nanai.
degree though, Marigold has been very like bat packy. It's very much or yeah, back patty, sorry, not yeah. In
Mm,
that it's very much celebratory of what has already happened instead of looking
yes.
forward. And I think celebrating Nanai
I
one
think they've
last
done a
time would be
good mix of
fantastic.
both. In
They
in
have, yeah,
that sense,
in
because
fairness.
when I first started getting into Stardom, it was kind of the opposite. It was very
Mm,
much like if you retired more than a month ago, we never want to think or or hear about you again.
yeah,
And that was always something that I kind of felt was a bit, I didn't like it. So I appreciate that they've kind of like I think Rossi's gotten a bit more nostalgic, a bit more sentimental about those sorts of things,
yeah,
um, about his past. So yeah, I think that like one last run for Nanai, is not out of the realm of possibility.
sure. My number three, as you said, it's Utami Hayashishita. I don't think she really wins it yet. I think they'll eventually do a big story for her to ascend to the top again. And there's a lot there that points to her kind of doing the fallen ace thing. She lost to EO. She lost on the very first Marigold main event. She's kind of been almost this forgotten one of sorts, and I think they'll eventually have her lean into that.
Yeah,
It's just a
no,
little
I
bit
could see
too
that.
soon for her. Like she could obviously win and just challenge Sari and beat her, but I think it's too soon. I don't think they've leaned into it hard enough yet, and I think there's a lot more time for Utami to get that big run.
Yeah, I agree, but it does kind of make it difficult because like Tommy and Mariah are very similar in that sense.
Yeah.
But I have Mariah over Utami. Like, as in,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, for
like,
sure.
but that also feels like, well, wouldn't Utami be the one that's more ready, quote unquote, than Mirai? It's difficult in that sense when I like compare Utami to, like I said, a Mirai figure who it's very
Mm.
similar, but I'm more confident that Mirai could win this, will win this than I am Utami. Uh, so I'm not very sure what the difference is there, if I'm being honest. I just think Utami has more to do before she gets that title because I think maybe part of it is that once you win the world title afterwards, there's a bit of a you know downtread, so to speak. And I don't think they want Utami to experience that yet.
Yeah.
Within the first year. You know what I mean? Because if Utami were to win, she were to beat Saori, she would probably drop the belt by, uh, first stream 2026, I guess it
Hmm.
would be. Like, I don't think she'd hold it for longer than a year. And so from there, what do you do? Like, I don't know. I think they're looking a bit more long term with Utami, and I think Rossi is still having his all gas no brakes mentality with Mirai uh, now. So that's why I kind of see Utami as a bit of a lesser possibility winning here.
Yeah, I think a lot of Utami stuff is just undercooked if she did it. Like her and
Mm,
Sari has barely scratched the surface. Her and Bozilla hasn't scratched the surface. Her and Iono have barely done anything. Like if she was to have a final, you're like, oh, these are cool, but they haven't really delved into them just yet. And I think there's a lot of time to do that with Utami. So I don't think it's her time yet. But I wouldn't be
mm,
shocked if she won it. I mean, it's
yeah,
Utami.
and like we
My
always
number,
say, it's kind of like a by day 3 or 4, we'll probably see who's more likely to win, Mirai or Utami.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, because for me, I'll leave it at that. Let's
All
move
right.
on.
My number two is Bozilla. I think
Yeah, I
she's
agree.
somebody who, if she wins this tournament and is getting, if she's leaving, say, after first stream, I think you can do a really big match between her and Sari. You have the first DreamStar winner, you have the world champion Sari. They team together on the inaugural show. Bozilla is a real. Bozilla is like a Marigold product fully. You know what I mean? They
Mhm.
plucked her from nowhere and have made her into the hyped name she is. And you put her against Sari in first stream and out award, and I think it's a really big match to do. I think the crowd would be super hot for it. These crowds love Sari, but they also love Bozilla. I think you'd have a really hot, really big match between two wrestlers who don't really lose a lot. And I think that it would be a really unpredictable match because it's like, well, Bozilla might leave, but she might be staying around. She might get the belt, and they'll go all in on her. Like I think they could create a lot of unpredictability with a Bozilla win.
Yeah, I agree. Bozo is also my number two. It's difficult in a sense because like I like Bozilla, but I also don't know if I like her in the main event of like your big Oda Award show. As much as I understand that it would make sense, and I'm not opposed to it, I would prefer other matches. And I would love her and Saori to happen like on a Korakuen. You know, what I mean, I feel like a Korakuen main event, Bozilla versus Saori is like absolutely killer. I would adore that. So I am, not as gung ho on Bozilla winning here, but at the same time, it's like it's Bozilla. She can very easily simply win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think she wins her block. I think that's outside of one very funny possibility, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
Um, I think Bozilla wins her block, but I would like it if she got cut short in that final again, because I
Mm.
think I don't know. I think there is like a fear of investment here. I think because Bozilla is so dominant and you present her as such a big deal, and that's good, but giving her a belt could create a bit, you know, I don't think anybody's disappointed in Bozilla because
No.
she does what she does well. But I think once she gets that belt, there are higher expectations on her, but there are also more eyes on her. And if she is just leaving at some point next year, never to return, I don't know if you want to go all in, give her that belt, give her the top match of your biggest show. Like I don't know if that's where I would go with her necessarily. So I am a bit back and forth on her. But yeah, I think she's definitely in question. She's definitely a top two pick if you are a betting man on this tournament.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of. I think you should just use people while you have them.
Mm,
It's one of the most annoying things I think about AEW is when somebody's like, "Oh, I'm not re-signing," they just disappear. And I look at Daniel Garcia, who came back and had a big feud, and he's not re-signed reportedly. But if he doesn't sign, he MJF just gets to beat him again, and you have a
Yeah.
big TV match, and you get a nice, decent ratings bump, and MJF gets to win a feud after dropping the belt. Like that just all makes sense to me. You know, you have Daniel Garcia, people like him, use him, get a big TV day out of it. And so it's kind of the same with Bozilla. She could leave after first stream, but if they sell 2,000 tickets for her versus Sari, do they care? Like,
Good
why
point.
should they? Sold the
Yeah.
tickets. They're gonna build another big match for whenever they whatever they run in the summer. Like they'll be fine. So I think if Bozilla is there and you have her, just go all in and get what you can out of her. And if she says, "Look, I'm leaving," she gets to put somebody over, and I think that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I have grown. So I was very much against Bozo winning the white belt, even though I thought it
Mhm.
was going to happen. I am less so against this, funnily enough, because I don't know. I think I just have more trust in her. Um, but I am kind of like still iffy about her being the first, uh, DreamStar winner. But it doesn't ultimately matter that much. Like really, like it would, like you said, it's like if it's good, then do it. Like
Mhm.
the actual like the record books don't matter that much in wrestling unless you want them to. So who cares? But I do think that like part of me is kind of like, you know, I would find it more interesting if Bozilla lost in the final
Yeah.
uh to my number one pick than I would if Bozilla won here, moved on to the biggest show of the year, and having Bozilla and Sari, main event that. I think
Yeah.
I'm a bit more into the alternative.
All right. Well, who's your number one?
My number one's Mirai. We obviously already
Yeah.
talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I feel like she's just like the franchise player right now. But she's also, like I said, she's different from Utami in that like she you can really go hard with her right now. She could beat Saori for that matter. I mean, like she could do these things, and then once she loses the belt, she has a bit more capabilities of being a mid card wrestler. I mean, I feel like we saw Utami post red belt in Stardom. It's like this feels weird because she should be in the main event. She can't be because she defended the belt 14 times and there's not really anything else to go into with her as the top champion. I think that Mirai has a bit more of a uh, dynamic character and a more dynamic of a just wrestler type that I think she can work as a mid card upper mid card baby face after the title run. So I don't think there's as much of a issue with giving her a lot really early, if that makes sense. Um, I would be a big fan of Mirai winning here. I would love Mirai overcoming Bozilla here. I think the alternative is like Bozilla winning, beating Saori, and then Mirai beating Bozilla sometime next year. Like I think those are like kind of the two. I feel like all roads lead to Mirai in the
Yeah.
near future, with the red belt, and I'm a fan of that. So yeah, I think just get to it now. Mirai's been calling out Saori since the second show in this company's history. I would love to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what puts Mirai ahead of Utami for me is that Utami's stuff with people is really undercooked, but
Yeah, yeah.
Mirai's is fully cooked. She, as you said, has been beefing with Sari since very early on. Sari called herself the ace, and Mirai said, "Who the fuck are you to call yourself the ace in my company?"
You know
Uh,
what's actually kind of really funny?
well,
Looking at the Star League, Mirai could literally anybody except for Kazuna Tanaka and Misa Matsui could go into the finals, and it
oh
would
yeah,
make
yeah.
sense for a Mirai match.
Like
Chiaki makes sense.
Mirai,
She's not going to. But Chiaki makes sense. Mai makes sense.
yeah,
Bozilla makes sense. Nanai makes sense. Aono makes sense. And Sairi makes sense. Like it's just Mirai has her fingers in everything, and it's great.
yeah. Like I think she's got that. She's got she's Mariah's just a lot further along with her stuff, as you said. Like I think her and Bozilla is a very natural pairing for a
Mhm.
final. They can really do her and Iono again, and that can be Mariah getting her one up on Iono. They can do
Funniest
her and
possible option is Aono
it would
versus
be.
Mirai in the final.
It would, honestly, I would laugh. But like those are very viable options that are well built up and it would be really good matches. And then obviously Mirai challenging Sari is a pretty standard kind of Sari defense as far as her storyline has been of going, I'm the ace around here. Mariah is very much somebody who would take, umbrage to that, considering she left Stardom to join this company. That she feels like a very big part of Marigold. So she's got all of the right options to be the winner. And
Mhm.
also, Rossi has always wanted to go all in on Mariah. Everything we've
Yes.
ever heard from Sonny is he adores Mariah, but it just never really felt like the time was right. She's been hotter than ever since jumping. Like, she's
I
probably
mean,
the most popular person in Marigold.
we said it last week that I said it last week that I think Mirai is right now the most like you know most valuable player in this company.
Yeah.
Most valuable get that they got out of the two exoduses, so to speak. I think is undoubtedly Mirai, and
Mhm.
yeah, strike while the iron's hot in that regard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I just think her and Sari is a perfect Ota Ward main event
I
for
agree.
first stream. If that's when they do it. I don't know when they're gonna do it, but I would assume it's
Yeah,
January.
we're assuming it's first stream. Um, it could be earlier. In that case, I think it does open up to a Bozil and an Anai, and even a new Tommy. I think it
Yeah.
opens up to like everybody way more if it's just like a big Korakuen match in the next couple
Mhm.
months. But assuming it's first stream, I think Mirai is the best choice and the most likely choice.
Yeah, I think all roads will eventually lead to Mirai. And I'm happy with it. I can't say I'm too upset.
Plus, Twin Tower are challenging Mirai and Mai Sakurai. So I would not even be surprised if she doesn't have a tag title by then.
I don't think that's a big issue because looking at how Rossi used to do things before Bushi Road, he was very okay with somebody being in multiple things. Like EO
Yeah,
had like three belts all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh, I'm pretty sure at least one tag champion won a tournament at some point early on in
Oh, I
Stardom. It
mean,
might have been it
no,
might have been Bito. I'm not sure.
Utami won the 2020 with the tag belts, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah,
he
like
doesn't
it's
mind with the tag belts. He values them
yeah.
enough that he's like, "Oh, you can be tag champion and win the tournament, of course." Why
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
I think the way I see it is that so early on, you want these like all of your titles on the big show. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I think that's the one
totally.
reason why I'm like maybe. But at the same time, it's like I don't think it's like a necessity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Especially for Ota Ward, I'd imagine he'll have a lot of stuff cooking for that one. So
Yeah, yeah.
sure. Um, well, yeah, we can move on then to our next one. I mean, this is another obvious one. We're gonna go do top three for MVPs of the tournament. There's a lot to pick from, to say the
This
least.
is yeah, it's difficult.
Um, I guess I've been thinking about this already, so I'll go first. I would say number three, I have Sari. Thanks. Sari's thing is, I feel like even when she's in half capacity, she's good. Like she's really, really good. I've
She's the most insane wrestler. Cause so recently, sorry to interrupt.
all
Uh,
right.
but recently I've added like an average match thing to my match guide,
Hmm.
and Sari's like the only person that's over 20 matches that's had over 20 matches. That's just like they've she's like every single one of them is recommended. Like her average is like above like great match, and it's like that's not how that's supposed to work.
Yeah.
That kind of doesn't make much sense. So sorry for interrupting, but no, I
No,
agree
it's
with
all right. Yeah, I think like she probably won't be fully on all tournament, and that's probably the only drawback. Because she's an outsider, she's gonna protect herself a little bit. But even her at half capacity is really entertaining. I thought her and was it Eureka Oka in like February? And it was
you.
just half capacity Sari just beating the shit out of this kid, and it worked. Sari
Similar
is
to the
that good.
Yuzuki match, I think,
Oh yeah, that too.
in a
Yeah,
similar sense, where it's just like, and the My Sakurai match for that matter, which I think they have a better match in them in this tournament. Um, it is just like Sauri's resting like level is so insane that
mm,
like you have to be particularly like not a fan of her opponent, or something has to like go wrong for her to have a less than really good match, pretty much.
yeah. No, I fully believe in Sari, but I don't think she's going to be the number one. I don't think she's gonna give enough effort for that. But that's kind of my only doubt on her. Who's your number three?
I'll go with Mariah as my number three. Um,
Okay.
I think should I go Mariah? We only have three. I'm looking at
Kind
it.
if you want.
I'm gonna say fuck the rules. I'm gonna say four. I'm gonna have Mariah and Misa Matsui as my tied number three. Um,
Okay.
for very different reasons. Because I think Mariah is just a very consistent wrestler. She has these matchups that I find very interesting. Um, her and Utami sticks out. Her and Yuzuki, and like I think just that entire block really is explosive enough to where, or big enough. Like I think Twin Tower is just going to be like kind of a clash, especially her and Goto. Um, is going to be like a pretty cool clash. So I'm a big fan of what Mirai I think will be able to do because she has been absurdly consistent in the company so far. As for Matsui, this is kind of her chance to really show up. You know what I mean? I think she's been great in ring, but she kind of said it herself that's like, I'm happy to be great, but I would also like to win sometimes. And I think that like this is going to be a suffering built character sort of tournament for her. But I think in that same light, it will be a very good tournament for her. I think she has a lot of chances to shine here. Another Nanai match is great. Her and Miku first day is going to be a lot of fun, and I think her block in general kind of caters to her style, very well. Even a Kazuna Tanaka versus Misa Matsui is a match that I'm excited for. So I would put both of them there.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I kind of get it. Especially Misa Matsui especially has a really good block to make it work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Mariah on here just because she has those kind of tendencies sometimes that turn me off.
Mm,
Good. Oh, I'm back.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
You've been here.
it's just that I think Mariah sometimes she does like the slow build stuff, and especially in a tournament setting, that can kind of be a bit bleh. That's my only doubt on
Yeah,
her.
she didn't have a great 5-star last year, so I get where you're coming from.
Not a
Um,
tournament despite all of her attributes, which
yeah,
is weird.
it's strange because she feels like under 15 is a perfect spot for her. Time limit wise, obviously.
Mm,
So it's like you would think that she'd be, and to be fair, to be fair, to be fair, Mariah and Marigold is a whole different animal. So we'll see.
that's true.
Uh,
That's true.
I think that's why I'm kind of giving her the benefit of the doubt in that respect, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. My number two then, or do you want to go first for your number two? I think we had been sneaking, so it should be yours.
I'll go number two again. It pains me to have to just pick two more. Um, you already said Sari. Obviously, Sari's gonna be great, so I'm gonna go with my number two is Shizuki. Natsumi Shizuki.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I think that's like I think as I've stared at these blocks more and more, I do think the Star League is a better block, but the individuals who I really think can shine, like I said with Mirai, even with Nori to a lesser degree, I think Izuki will do very well. But of those, and Utami for that matter, of the Dream League, I just think that Shozuki is like the coolest wrestler ever. Like I just think she's so sick. I think she has these matches and she has the chemistry with the actress girls with Twin Tower that I think will take her to a certain place. I think her and Nozaki have showed a ton of chemistry in tag matches. I think her and Nori, to is Nori a karate girl or a shoot? I don't know, but Shizuki obviously has
MMA.
the yeah, just vaguely MMA. But Shizuki has the kickboxing, shoot boxing, to her. So I think her and Nori can have a really interesting match, a really dynamic match in that way. And then you have the Mirai and Utami matches, which are going to be good, obviously. So I think of anybody in that block, I think Shizuki, similar to how I said Momo had like almost exclusively matches that should work for her. I think
Hmm.
Shizuki has matches that pretty much should all work for her. And even the Yuzuki one, I think they had a really good showing in that tag match this past week. So it's like I think there is a lot for Natsumi Shizuki to dig her teeth into this tournament. I'm super excited.
All right. I can see that, but I just think the talent level is almost too high for her. Like that, like it's that crazy. I think she won't be MVP, even though she will be insane. You know, um, my number two is Miko Iono. I pondered to you last week if she was the best wrestler in Marigold, and I'm still thinking she is. And I look at her block, and it's like this is excellence for Iono. I mean, she's gonna wrestle Nanai, she's gonna wrestle Bozilla, she's gonna wrestle Sari, which is insane. You have her and Matsui, who have a lot of chemistry from Actress Girls. You have her and
Yeah.
Chiaki, obviously, who know each other really well. Then your
Jackie
only
got a
doubt is
haircut.
like,
She just looks like a Getsu now, by the way.
yes,
It's
we
a
love
bit
to see it.
uncanny.
So like the only question mark of Iono's entire tournament is Kazuna. Like, is that going to be good or is this going to be like bland? So when you only have one question mark in your entire tournament, I think that says a lot about how good you're
I,
going to
I
do.
I do wonder if her and Bozilla will work this time around.
I think they worked enough last time with all of the additional stuff. I think you give a fresh Iono versus Bozilla, and it's a lot different.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I can
I
see it.
trust in her. Um, then my number one, I think, I said similar when I picked Mayu for the 5 star. I think Mayu just was having an insane year. And it's the same here in Marigold. I think Utami Hayashishita has almost reinvented herself as a wrestler in some ways. She's cut out a lot of the stuff that I think didn't work for her. And, she hasn't been in the spotlight as much, but she's been insane in everything she's done. The EO match was obviously fantastic. I thought, even though she was very overlooked, I thought she was good in that debut show main event.
Yeah.
The Nanai match was awesome. I think every time Utami has been asked to step up to the plate, she has stepped up and hit a home run. I know you give her an entire tournament to just go, hey, look, prove that you are the best of the best. And I think she's going to take that and run with it, just like Mayu did.
This tournament's kind of fucked up because I don't want to pick it. Like they're all like most of them are good. Like you know what I mean? Because I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm not including Tommy in mine. Um, I think I'm hesitant. Not even hesitant with Utami, but like I don't have Utami in my list, even though she obviously will have a great tournament. Um, Mainly because she's been a bit unproven in singles, and I say that her two singles matches have been like the best matches in the company so far. So it doesn't really make sense why I don't have Utami in mine. Um, but yeah, I think we'll see what pace Utami's working at in this tournament because,
Yeah.
like we said, don't think Utami's going to win it. So I wonder if she will be in putting other people over mode, not as in like wins, but just like making other people look good mode, which is like great mode for her nowadays. If she'll just kind of be in a apathetic, kind of like what we were saying with Sari mode, where she's just gonna kind of be like, yeah, I'm gonna have good performances because of course I am, nothing more, nothing less, or if she will be in like full on Utami mode where it's just like she's one of a kind type of thing. Because I think that kind of makes it depend. For me, in my taste, I think you already know where I'm going with this. For me, in
Hmm.
my taste, I think to have a great tournament match and have a great tournament, you gotta have passion, and ain't nobody got passion like Nanae Takahashi.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
the most proven singles wrestler in this company, like just not even like pre-company, in this company. She's had the most singles matches of anyone against the most people. I'm talking to you, Miko Ono. You've wrestled like 20 singles matches and 17 of them were against Mirai, so it doesn't really count. Um, I think that Nanae Takahashi is just like she's man, I like if she stays healthy, if she can keep with it, I think that's my biggest fear for her is just that it's like, you know, uh she the wheels fall off at some point. But if they don't, then I don't know if there's anybody that like I'm more excited for. Very I talked about it a few weeks ago. It's very Goto-esque, right? In the G1,
Yeah.
where it's like you don't know how many more years she's got. This is probably her last round robin tournament. Um, if she makes it to next year and she has a run next year, that'll be great. But like you're really looking at like this might be Nanai's last in the similar sense that this year might have been Goto's last. And I just think that there's something about that. Even years ago, the first G1 I watched was Yuji Nagata's last tournament, and he got a good match out of bad luck Fale. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how
Mm.
much mental power you need to?
Hey
I mean,
man,
I like
respect the underboss.
Yeah, I like the match. I know some people probably didn't because it's still Bad Luck Fale. But do you know how much like mental power that takes to get like a really compelling, like good match? But that's just like the mentality these legendary figures, these veteran figures have in their last tournament, last couple of tournaments, whatever you want to call it. And I think Nanai's going to bring that against some of the best wrestlers. Her and Chiaki having a rematch. I'm actually super excited for that. I think similar to what I said earlier about my Sakurai and Sari. I think Nanai and Chiaki can have a better match than they had previously on the house show earlier this year. I think Nanai just has a really good lineup of opponents, and I'm just super excited for what she does in this tournament. Again, as long as she can stay healthy, stay fit, and that's my only fear there. Really, I'm super excited for Nanai. But ultimately, like your choices are all correct. I think my choices are all correct. Like I think this is just a good tournament. Like I
Yeah,
think
honestly, it's
especially the top end wrestlers are just so good
yeah, I think
that
it's a
like
it's an
yeah.
embarrassment of riches. I mean,
We
this
haven't even talked
is
about my Sakurai, who's been having like who's been doing career work recently and will probably continue that into this tournament. You know what I mean? Like it's just really good tournament.
yep. Um,
Sorry
we
for
did this
interrupting.
for the 5 star, so I think we have to do this for Marigold as much as there's probably no glaring ones this time. Uh, who is your biggest worry? Like, who do you look at and go, "I'm side eyeing your matches"?
Probably Koki Amare. I
Yeah,
like Koki a
yeah,
lot, but I am a bit worried. Like this will be a bit hard for her. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Because I think that there are wrestlers who might like I think Nozaki. I am a bit worried about her, but I also know that it's like she's done as much as she might want you to want to pretend that she's never been in a round robin tournament. She was in like 7 of them for Wave. No, did you notice that everybody fucking hates Wave when they leave that company? It's kind of weird.
oh yeah,
Um,
it's pretty crazy.
but yeah, Nozaki's like, I have never, I don't want anybody to pretend like I've ever done a round robin tournament. I have no emotional attachment to round robin tournaments. This is as far as I know, is the first one I've ever had. It's like you were in the most famous independent women's tournament like 6 times, whatever. I think Nozaki knows like when to turn it on. I think when she does that, it'll be super fun. I think that like it's not a question of will Nozaki bring the skill to the show, where I as it's like will she bring the effort. I think that like there is a question of will Koki be able to have consistent matches that are different enough that she, like will she be able to adapt to this sort of environment? I don't know. You know what I mean? Um, and I think given where she's placed in this company, that is a bigger fear than someone like Nori, who I think is who you're going to bring up, right? Because we talked about this briefly last
No,
week. Oh, really?
yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna mention it. I had a change of heart, so I'll bring that
okay,
up.
but point being is that it's like Nori, you watch this and it's like she wrestles like 3 times a year. She doesn't work here, so what I get is what I get, and I won't throw a fit. If it's dope, then it's dope. If it's not, then she can stay in LPW, type of thing. Like I think that's kind of where I'm at with Nori. Uh, but with Koki, this is someone they very clearly have money on. You know what I mean? They
Yep.
want her to succeed. They expect her to succeed. So I expect her to succeed. This could be a rough tournament for her. I believe in her. I hope she does well, but it could be a tough tournament for her. Especially in the same block as Chikagoto, you will have the comparisons. Was Chikagoto's match against Shozuki as good, or was Koki's match against Shozuki as good as Chikagoto's? Was Koki's match against Mirai as good as Chikagoto's? And I think Chikagoto right now is a better wrestler than Koki, um, who might be valued a little bit less than Koki. So I think that will also kind of make it a bit harder for her because they will be having the same matches, and you can directly see that because they're kind of paired up because they're Twin Tower. So
Yeah, I can kind of see it with Koki. I think people are a bit harsh on her. I think
yeah,
she
yeah,
very clearly has made steps in the right
she has.
direction since joining Marigold, and I don't think she's going to be a complete failure. I mean, the Iono match is proof that at the very least she can be walked through a good match. Um, but I definitely see that, she might be somebody who underperforms a lot. So
Mm.
I get that. And she isn't mine just because there's one standout person, I think. Um it was gonna be Nori. We did have a lot of doubts about Nori. I think she's somebody we have barely seen. If you're out here telling me you've seen every Nori match, you are either from Japan or you're a liar. Okay? Like that
Even if
is
you're from
that is
Japan, I still
impossible.
think you're a liar.
Yeah. Like there's absolutely no way. So, you have this woman who doesn't wrestle a lot, didn't wrestle for a long time and only just came back and has only been seen in a six-woman tag by the majority of people. Um, but I saw her and Julia. I saw the minute with Julia. And I just thought there is no way this woman isn't going to have an entertaining tournament. Like, even at her worst, surely
There's still gonna be
she is going to have
something
a
fun. Yeah.
yeah, like she has to at the very least have a fun match with Shozuki. Like there's absolutely no two ways about it. So my worry is actually, and I know this might not be popular,
I
it's
know who you're gonna
Kazuna.
say.
Kazuna
Oh,
Tanaka.
okay. I thought you were gonna go for the other
I
one.
see. I my thing with Yuzuki is I don't think she's been good, but she's just trying shit, and this is the perfect time to try shit. You're an
Mm.
undercard wrestler. Try stuff, see if it works, and some of it does work, and some of it doesn't, and that's totally fine. Like I get what Yuzuki is doing right now, and I understand it. And I think for this tournament, she's gonna stop experimenting as much, and she's just gonna go back to the tried and true. Um, but Kazuna, I haven't seen a lot from Kazuna just yet that makes me go, okay, yeah, I see it. And I liked her in Wave and I liked her on New Blood, but since making the move, I just feel like she's been very uninspiring. And then you put her in
I
this block where you either sink or swim with a lot of these wrestlers. Like Bozilla will eat you alive.
well, they just
Sari
had
will
that
eat her
match, and
alive.
it was funny.
It
But yeah.
was, but, like, in a tournament setting, like, Iono is gonna eat you alive. Chiaki is gonna be a heel on you and not give you your time to shine. Like, you have to sink or swim in this block especially, and I think she is somebody who hasn't proven to me yet that she can swim, so I do have worries about Kazuna.
I think Kazuna's gonna be the hardest one to get points if we're looking at a kayfabe perspective. I think she probably finishes last of everybody. Even Yuzuki, I think Yuzuki probably picks up an additional win. But I don't think I agree. I think what you see as uninspired, I see as kind of hidden. I feel like I haven't been I've enjoyed everything I've seen from Kazuna, but it has notably been very little in the company, if that makes sense. Like I think
Yeah.
that she has had good showings, but it's mainly like she tags with Yuzuki mostly, and of those matches, Yuzuki usually does 70% of the work. The 30% that Kazuna does, I usually think is very good. But
Mm.
and sometimes it's even better than Yuzuki's, and I love Yuzuki. But like I truly think that Kazuna does some tremendous work, but she never is that featured in a match. I mean, even the elimination match from the Korkin, right? I thought Kazuna was doing really good work against the foreigners. I was like, damn, she's really she's putting in a shift, and then she lost and she was out. And I was like, damn, I would have liked to see her like wrestle Chiaki or something. Like like see her do something because that there was some substance there. I think that's more of the problem with Kazuna thus far, is that
Yeah.
like she just hasn't been in a match that showcases her at all. Because like what singles matches she had? She had against Kamoma Minami, two of them, one against Bozilla.
Yeah.
I want to say that's it. Neither of those are going to give you a Kazuna Tanaka performance, really. And when she's
Guess?
in tags, I mean, I you can't blame her for not being
It's
blow
not that I
away
don't
Komomo Minami
blame her,
matches.
I just haven't seen stuff that makes me go, "Oh, yeah, her and Nanai is gonna be good," and it's not just Nanai eating her alive. You said she hasn't stood out in her singles matches. She might not get a chance to stand out here because these people in her block are just gonna beat the crap out of her.
I don't know.
She's gonna have to make do with what she gets. I'm not
But
sure
I
if she's
think
done
I
that
think
yet.
there are possibilities here. I feel like Saori loves Kazuna. She always has. She's been a Kazuna fan. So I think Saori, while she will probably eat her alive in like the Saori way, I think she will try to make that match a good one. Like I don't think
I don't
she's
know,
just gonna
they're
be like
wrestling in Morioka.
disregard her.
There's no way. That is gonna be quarter capacity. Sorry, just can't see it.
Yeah, but Morioka's day 6. That's pretty late in the tournament. I
Yeah,
can see it.
that's definitely not gonna work then.
I don't know. I think it'll work. That could be a main event looking Mariah Yuzuki main event there.
Kazuna
But
just doesn't look like she's gonna have a crazy tournament. Even her match on the final is Chiaki. She's gonna get healed on. Her match in the opener is Bozilla. She's gonna get murdered. Like her
yeah, to be
standout
fair, I
shows
I
don't
think
look pleasant for her.
I think of the Star League, she's the one that's out of place.
Yeah.
Uh, in the sense that she doesn't really have ties there. I think her and Misumetsui will be really good. I think that's a match I'm circling, and her against Nanai will be a cool passion injection type thing. And her and Sari. But I do think that's like, somewhere in the middle. The Chiaki match could be good, but it could not be. The Brazil match will probably be just her getting demolished and squashed. Um, I see where your pause is, but I think that like I don't know. I have more hope,
That is
but
the
also
point of
less.
like biggest worry. In fairness, it's not
Yes.
saying she's gonna be bad. She is just the worry. You know.
Yeah, I think I have more faith in Kazuna than you do, which is fair because
Yeah.
I was obviously the wave guy.
Yes. Um. All
And
right.
I
Where
like
to?
technician stuff as well.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's
she's
fair.
good at that. So it's like that that attracts me more than it attracts you. So I get it.
Yeah, that's true. Um. I'm deciding where to go next because there's two that I really like.
Um,
Let's go for this. Let's go for this. This is one of my favorites. What do you think is going to be the match of the tournament? What match do you look at and go, and your eyes just light up?
I feel like it's Utami Mirai is a very easy one, very obvious one in Cork and Hall. Uh, and that's the earlier Cork and Hall, so it's a bit less stakes full, if that makes sense. But
Stakes
that
full.
it has less stakes. Okay, my bad. Been doing this for 5 years, still don't know how to talk. Um, I think that one has a little bit less stakes, so I think that might not be as like heated as a what's one later down the line, but as a Sari Nanai Takahashi, which I think
Yeah.
is my other one, which will be the penultimate day in Korkanal. But I do love Utami Mirai. I think that's a matchup that works, like just fundamentally, and I feel like it always has to some degree. They've always had like a certain spark there, and I think you can see in their work together in Marigold, together, they are to some degree friends. They like I always say they have more tag moves than either of them have ever had with anybody else ever, and they're like cumulatively like a 6-time tag team champions with other people, but somehow they have the most tag moves together. Um, so I think they will just click in Cork and Hall, especially. And like I said, the other one is Nanai and Sari, which I also think will click.
Oof, yeah.
I think there's just like I think Sari will channel a bit of Arisa Nakajima against Nanai, and we already saw that kind of being the through line there of Sari talking shit to Nanai after Arisa beat the fuck out of her. I think there will be I think it will be a bit reminiscent of that, and I think it will be a lot of fun there. Uh, they've see I wasn't watching Seedling around the time that that match probably happened because I imagine this was the singles match like 2018 or 2019.
That
Um,
oh, that depends. Did they wrestle when Sorry
that's
was in
what I
her
mean.
prime? I
I
think
wasn't
they would have
watching.
had
Sorry,
tags.
in her prime now, respectfully,
No,
but
yeah, but you know what I mean. Because I know they had the citrus, not the citrus wind, or yeah, the Sari and Yoshiko run. They would have come across each other, but that was
yeah, they
post surgery. I think post surgery Nanai was not good, so I don't think that would have been as
okay.
good
So
as
they had
advertised.
one 5-minute time limit draw in
No
2017.
way. That's
And then
crazy.
before that, they had like a 0-1 match, 2015. Uh,
So this is the first
yeah.
time ever, basically.
So
That's
this is
insane.
this is the first like big time singles between the two of them.
That's
At the very
insane.
least in 9 years. Because there was the 0-1-1 did go 10 minutes. So like that was a
Zero
sizable
one
match.
doesn't
But
count though. Let's be fair.
correct, it was the token women's match. So
But yeah,
and
fair.
again in 2015 in
Yeah, very
Masuda
different. Sorry, to
in
say the
Masuda,
least.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that match is I think those two matches are the ones I'm looking forward to the most.
Okay. All right. I'm looking at the same Corkin as you, and I'm looking at Star League, and I
Mm,
see Sari versus Miko Iono. And
gotcha.
just to me, over the past 12 months, 12 plus months, I don't know if there are two more consistent high level wrestlers than Sari and Miko Iono. Like, to me, Miko Iono was one of the best wrestlers of 2023. She did so much good stuff that year. And Sari obviously has been a freight train since leaving WWE. So, I mean, those two going at it in Cork and Hall on day 4 when everybody's still going to be relatively fresh, I can't see a world where that isn't one of the best matches of the year. Like that is a huge match to me. Like I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of championship derbies, classics, whatever you want to call them. Champion versus champion matches in tournaments. I really like this one. I do think it'll probably go to a draw, if not being one of the few sorry losses. Um,
Mm.
I think that's interesting about it as well. Uh, yeah, I'm also excited for that match. I think that's a completely valid match to pick because if Sari's gonna try, hard anywhere, it's gonna be in Cork and Hall against Miko Ono, uh,
Oh yeah,
for
for sure.
example. And Sari trying hard is sick. Like that's like the best
Yeah.
wrestler, you know, in the world. So yeah, I agree with you on that front. That Corkin looks good because
Oh, it's insane.
another one I'm gonna take your question and kind of go for the same thing, but like I'm gonna pose it back to you. What's a match that's a match that's never going to main event, but that you're looking forward to, that you think will be really good?
I
Um,
had a similar question in the holster. I won't lie to you. Yeah.
okay.
So
Well, do you
we're on
want
the
to dive into
same
that
we're on the
now?
same wavelength. Yeah, it was kind of just like what match are you looking at that
Like a
you think
sleeper?
everybody else is gonna overlook? Yeah, like a
Mm.
sleeper that you think is just gonna hit. That you just
See,
think they are gonna deliver.
I don't think anybody is overlooking it, so I'm just gonna have this as like a honorable mention. On that same show on the 16th, Chika Goto Victoria Izuki. Ah, fucking,
Oh,
I'm here for it. Absolutely here
see.
for it. They had a 15-minute draw on like the
Mhm.
fourth or fifth Marigold show, and I was still hesitant on Chikagoto. Victoria Yuzuki, I really like, but she's a bit hit or miss. So when I think it was me. I don't know if Scott was there, but I know me and Davey watched Chikagoto versus Victoria Yuzuki. I think Scott was there as well, and we were like, "This went 15. We'll see." And then they just delivered a really fucking good match, and I was like, "Shit, okay." I'm rocking with it. That's when Xavier became a big Chikagoto fan, if you were wondering. Um, and we were just like, damn, okay. And then since then, they've really told a great story as rivals. You could see in like the behind the scenes stuff that they are likely pretty close friends because they're always hanging out together in everything you ever see behind the scenes of Marigold. So I imagine that there's like a real uh, thrive to want to make each other better. I really like that match again on that same Korakuen Hall show. Um, I'll swear I'm looking to the first day. I like Nagisa Nozaki versus Natsumi Shizuki. That's a match that I pinpointed a month ago, I want to say, in a tag match. I was like, those two work super well together. And I was hoping for it in this tournament. I've been saying I'm hoping for it, and they gave it to me. And that's on the first day, the first night, I should say. So I'm really looking forward to that match as well. I'd say those are the two kind of undercard matches that I have circled. Amongst others, obviously, I think Nori has a lot of matches that I'm interested in, just because I want to see how her style works against some of these people. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, those are the two that I would say specifically are on my mind.
All right. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I feel like I don't know if I can pinpoint a match that nobody is talking about because
Mm,
everybody seems really into this tournament. But I think maybe because of the occasion and because of the other matches, on the 23rd at Corkin, Koki is wrestling Chica. I
mm.
think if there's ever a time that Koki is going to deliver, it would be that. And I think Chica is going to be up to have a great match there because they're teammates and it's Corkin. And obviously, people's eyes are going to go to Sari versus Nanai, or they're going to look at Mirai versus Shozuki. Or they
I think
might look at
Chiaki
Iono versus
and
Sakurai.
Bozilla. is a very interesting match as well.
Yeah,
One of the
definitely.
most interesting of Brazil's schedule. That's not
Probably, yeah.
Sari Nanai, obviously, because it's
I
Sari
think you
Nanai.
look at that competition, and then people are definitely going to skip over Koki versus Chica, but I think they will be very motivated to have
Mm,
a very good match. And then I think because it's on the night show on like the very first day, people aren't talking enough about Utami versus Gochika. That's
mm.
on an Osaka split, and I think that's another one where Tami will probably go out there with the intention of making Chica look as good as possible.
And
So I think that one
Goto
could
can look
really
great.
it can. Yeah, I think that's one that, like, I don't know if people are, like, disregarding it. I'm really not sure, but that's one where I'm looking at it and going, "Okay, that is going to really over deliver."
Yeah, no, I agree. That is an interesting one. First night is interesting, in
Yeah.
general, first day and night, because I was like, there might be a couple of, upsets here and there. Like I'm looking at like trying to remember like what the Rossi protocol is for like
Yeah.
upset to standard ratio. Because like
Mhm.
nowadays every match is an upset on the
I
first
think
night,
we could
pretty
both
much.
see Matsui beat Sayono on that first day.
I'm struggling with that, but yeah, because I'm struggling to find other points for Aono. Because I think that's true, but then I was like, but Aono needs to lose some of these matches, like
Yeah.
some elsewhere. So it's like I don't want her to end up on what 7 points or something, 8
Mm.
points. That's a bit low. I would like to get her a little bit over that, but at the same time, you never know. But yeah, I think that is a easy upset. I'm looking at first day. I'm not gonna lie. I think Nori ends the night at the top of her block,
Yeah, I was just
and
thinking that as well.
and then she loses to Yuzuki and Shizuki, and like she
Yeah.
loses to undercard wrestlers, but her over Koki and her over Mirai, setting her up top of the block, maybe with Utami, because I don't know if I have Utami losing either of those matches. She might, um, but like I think Nori could end Osaka being like oh, this is someone we need to deal with, and then she can kind of get humbled throughout the rest of the tournament, end up a bit middle of the pack, and I think that would work for her.
All right. Okay. Um, we kind of
Speak,
discussed this already,
go ahead.
but what are we looking at for final? 'Cause, that
Mm,
last day, as we said, it really lines up with a lot of Rossi's plays. Like that Utami Koki seems like a prime banana slip from Utami. She's gonna fall at the finish line, and then I think it's very much dependent on who goes through from Star League. So, are we both looking at Mirai versus Bozilla or Mirai versus Leono as like the most likely pairings, just
I
based
think
on the matches and based on how Rossi does things?
yeah, I think Mirai Bozilla is my one.
Yeah.
Mirai Aono is my two, and again Mirai Nanai is my. I think that Mirai versus Nanai works. If that
Yeah.
would put Mirai over very well, with
Mhm.
with a Nanai loss in the there, and I think that'd be a really cool match because obviously Mirai historically is the only babyface to go. I fucking hate Passion. I think Passion is means nothing to me. Hakpu. I hate Passion. I think that like is a cool little like I think that's a cool babyface clash. Two of the the top baby faces, the most cheered wrestlers on the roster, going at it. I think that's a really cool match, and we saw that in the tag title match this past weekend. That's like they have that kind of that work that they can really deliver. I think, but yeah, I think Mariah Bozilla is what I'm looking at. But of those top two matches in Star League, I think any of the three non-Sari wrestlers can go to the final realistically.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think to me it seems like they're gonna do the Sari Bozilla draw sends through Leonor and Nanai.
Mm.
I feel like they always do that at least once. And then I think, if they do that, you can either have, Mirai loses to Nagisa and that sends Utami through, or Utami loses to Koki and that sends Mirai through.
You want to know what's
Because
one upset very quickly that I am looking at in this tournament that I think would be
yeah,
really cool? I
does
think
it?
Chiaki over Bozilla on the penultimate night puts
Mm,
Bozilla
yeah,
in like on the back foot, and it gives somebody who's probably not going to get that many wins like a really cool win. And it's like, holy shit! And like their tag partners, Bozilla is a member. I don't think she'll admit it. She's a member of the Dark Wolf Army. Obviously,
Oh yeah.
shouts out. But so I think that would be a cool little quirk and upset for Chiaki to get, and then Bozilla goes into the final day just on a war path to try to beat Sari. Um, I think
Yeah.
that sets it up because I'm looking at it, it's like it's hard to beat Sari and Bozilla in this tournament. If I'm being frank,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like
Sure.
I don't know how we keep things interesting. Final
Well,
night.
you could do like a runaway 4-4 split kind of thing where
Mm,
like I don't know, Sari, Bazilla, and Nanai just barely lose, and so they're all neck and neck at the top. I think that would
yeah.
be fun. But I also think Iono just beats Sari because Rossi loves having his white
Mm,
belt champion beat the red belt champion in tournaments to be like, hey, look, my belts are on an even standing. Um, and you can have Sari drop. I think Sari, for all of the talk about her, I think she's really intelligent and understands that losing is a part of the game, and I think she's willing to put people over. So I think she can definitely drop. But yeah, Bazilla is definitely one they'll have to get creative with. But I could definitely see Triaki.
like I think
Um,
Bozilla, Falston, and I think they go 50-50 with that, and I think
yeah,
that's preferable. And then beyond that, it's like who does she lose to? I don't think she can really lose
yeah.
to
I think that's
anybody.
why I'm maybe thinking they do her and Sari drawing to send somebody else through
Hmm.
because they'll just be too far ahead, but they'll have somebody else sneak in.
I think I think
I do
that
think Rossi likes that.
I think Bozil Sari is a very indicative match. If Bozil wins it, I think she loses the final and gets like a title match elsewhere, like
Yeah.
in some other form. Whether it's before or after first stream, honestly, I think you could run Sari versus Bozil.
Mm.
If that's a draw and somebody else goes through, Mariah obviously wins. And if it's a draw and Bozilla goes through via draw, um, then I think Bozilla might win the tournament.
Yeah,
And
'cause
then
they did that with Utami, didn't they? She drew with was it Siri? She drew with Siri and
yeah, she
then
drew a
wrestled
Sherry and then she went
Himeka.
through to Jamaica. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that
so
would
I
be
think that's
interesting.
I think if Bozilla draws in, I think she probably wins the tournament. I think if
Yeah.
Bozilla wins in, I think she loses the tournament. And I think if Bozilla well, Bozilla's not just gonna lose to Saori, I don't think. I
No,
think that would be
no.
a bit reductive. Um but yeah, I think that match is very much where a lot of things stem from, which is it's why it's the perfect final night match. Frankly, it's the perfect match to run on the final night of a tournament, especially the way Rossi does it, where they have the grand finals on the same day.
Yeah,
I think Sauri
for
Bozo is the
sure.
perfect match to run there.
I think that final day is honestly like really perfectly set up. Because you'll probably have a few people in contention, but they'll fall away as time goes on. I mean, Mai
Mm,
Sakurai and Misa probably plays some part technically. Maybe Kazuna beats Chiaki and officially eliminates her. Like Yuzuki could beat Nori and take her out of commission. And then obviously Utami and Mirai are both against very losable opponents where they can really send anybody through with that. So I think that final day is honestly set up really, really well.
mm.
In that classic Rossiism style where he's going to do some chaotic shit and you're just kind of waiting for what's going to happen. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's do you have any questions? You said you had questions. What do you want to ponder?
Um, I was mainly looking at who do you think fits into certain like roles? Like who do you think goes on a losing streak in this tournament? Like I like to look at some things because you don't do this as much
Oh my.
with your questions. Uh, like more kayfabe stuff and just like story stuff. I think are kind of interesting. Like who do you think? As I said, I think Misamatsui is gonna struggle to build character. I think that's gonna be her run. Who do you think is gonna have those sorts of like great runs, like from a just winning perspective? I know this is a bad question, but I forgot the exact wording of my question that I had earlier. So I'm trying to
Yeah, because I'm not sure what you want now. You seem to have asked two different things.
yes, a little bit. Who do you think shows up to this tournament and has like a better kayfabe like win loss record than we might be thinking? Because I'm looking at my
Right.
Sakurai. I think my Sakurai might go kind of fucking crazy
Well, the thing
in
with
terms of
Mai
his winning.
is Julia just anointed her. So like she is all over the place. She could finish third in her block. She could finish second. She could finish fifth.
Yeah, she
Like
could
Julia
finish like tied
just
for
very much,
last pretty much.
yeah, like Julia just was like, you are going to be the main star after I leave. You have to take the mantle from me, you know? So I think that puts her in a very interesting spot where I don't know where she's going to finish, but I could see anything. Um, Knowing Rossi though, he will be very heavy-handed, and either Chica, or no, not Chica, Chiaki or Koki will really outdo what people think. Chiaki's been getting a lot of protection. You know, she obviously
That's
went to the
another one I was
draw.
looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, like she went to that draw with Utami in the elimination match where they could have eliminated Chiaki easily, but they didn't. She got the win for her team with Nozaki at Sumo Hall. There's a lot of like that little stuff that makes you go, oh, they really like Chiaki, and they might go all in with Chiaki. Um, and you can have her lose to Kazuna on that last day to take her out of commission if she's too high on points. But I think Chiaki will end up outdoing what people expect. And then Koki, I mean, look, they did this with Utami. They love Koki probably on a similar level to how they love Utami, but probably a little bit less. I'd say if anybody's Utami, it's that Seri girl. But they will definitely overdo Koki because that's how Rossi is. He's just like, I think she's a star. I treat her like one. So I could definitely see her finishing with like 6, 7 points, maybe. This is probably more than people are expecting looking at it.
I think she probably finishes with 8 because she gets that Utami win at the end. So she probably
Probably,
finishes
yeah.
pretty high. Just barely out of like contention. Um
Yeah,
so
like maybe
whatever
tied
the floor
fifth,
is for that,
second, or
I
third.
guess. Um
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking at I actually am looking at Chiaki as well. I think Chiaki
Mm.
probably doesn't do great, like just in terms of I don't know if she'll get to like 8 points, which is the Koshi, if you will, the winning record. I don't know if she'll get to that point, but I do think she'll get some like cool wins. Like I said, over Bazilla, I can see her beating Nanai as well, maybe. Um, her or Misa gotta get a win over Nanai, in my opinion. I feel like that just makes sense to me. Um, and yeah, I think Chiaki has been kind of being a bit protected recently. She just has like this sort of like uh, presence to her that it feels like she can make a run, even if she doesn't make it obviously to like high contention by final day. But I am very interested in what Chiaki does from that perspective. And my Sakurai, like I said, I think my Sakurai is going to do astoundingly well. She probably beats Aono because they are gonna do that match for the belt. They
Oh
already
yeah,
said
for
it.
sure.
So she probably gets that win there, for example. But yeah, and then Nori, I think Nori, like I said, kind of goes on a run and then probably starts petering off uh to not be too insanely like, you know, protected, but like
OP.
protected enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she is a loan, right? And she's a loan from Shinobu Kandori and Takako Inoue, two people that Rossi doesn't want on his on on his bad side. He has enough people who could kill him that are on his bad side. So it's preferable not to get, you know, Shinobu Kandori on your bad side and either book Nori poorly or try to poach her, which he said he wouldn't. Um, so I think they will probably give Nori a reasonable run in the tournament. Some big wins likely, and then she probably peters out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, do you have anything else?
I don't think so. My big
Yeah,
thing was like, what's an upset you would like to see? What's something like what's something shocking that like you don't think like what's like a thing that you want to see in the tournament? Like who do you want to just randomly like I said, I want Chiaki to beat Bozilla. That's that's what I'm campaigning for here. Like what's your little I'm not good at the questions thing, I'm realizing. It's a good thing I didn't ask to host this one.
yeah. Well, yours are just kind of. I feel like you're digging a little bit too deep almost. I think a lot of
Correct.
that stuff is just day by day. Like you have to figure that out as the tournament goes along. Um, because like
To be fair, if Xavier was
anybody
here,
can upset anyone.
his answer is Chikagoto over Utami.
Yeah, but and the thing is, like, that's day 1, so that's almost 2 on the nose. Then how many surprises are you gonna have on day 1 when, Matsui probably
Mhm.
beats Iono? Um, so I don't know, I guess go crazy, Koki over Mirai. Establish dominance. Yeah,
Actually,
that's
I could see it. I could see it. Where is that one happening?
Tendai,
Goki Murai.
Tendai,
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
maybe, possibly, but I don't know. Anyone can beat anyone, really. That's the general gist in a tournament. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, I mean, we've gone for like an hour or so. I think with tournaments, there's very much not a lot to say because like
Especially when
all
you're
all you
gonna
can do is
review all of them every. It's not like there's like. It's
yeah,
not like we're
yeah,
gonna meet again at the end of the tournament and be like, wow, what a. It's like no, we're gonna be here for it. So.
yeah. But but I think it's always good to like go, okay, what's the good shit that's gonna happen? Who could win? 'Cause that's always what's interesting. Although
Ooh,
I don't
okay.
think
You know what?
there's
One last thing. What card are you the most excited for? Period. It's obviously between the two Korkins and probably the final. But what card top to bottom are you like? That is one I would wake up in the middle of the night for, even though you don't do that. But like you know what I mean? Like what's one that you were like fiending for? One card from the shows.
it's difficult, honestly, because I think most people would say that first Corkin, but I think if you're talking top to bottom, that first Corkin has some matches that I'm side eyeing. Um,
It only has one downside eyeing, and I think it'll probably be good still.
maybe, possibly.
I think
Um,
my Sakurai Kazuna is the only question.
mm, I'm probably a bit meaner than you. That Osaka split day show is pretty well paced.
The
I
first
think.
one.
Yeah, like I think Koki Nori is interesting. Mirai Chico will be good. Natsumi Yuzuki is obviously going to be good. Utami and Nagisa will probably be good. Aono Matsui should be really good. And then Nai Mai, Kazuna versus Bozilla. I mean, there's no real bad match of that pairing when you look at it. I think that's probably if you're looking top to bottom. I'm like, hell yeah, like, we're
I
we're
think
we're
Koki
starting
and
off
Nori
strong.
is a match that like I think that's
Yeah,
probably the match that
a
I'm the
little
most
bit
like, I
maybe.
wonder what's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's
because
it. It's
like
just like really interesting.
not even in a way where it's like I think that like Koki and Nozaki will probably be pretty, bleh, because
Yeah.
historically they have not good chemistry. Um, and by historically I mean in like the two or three matches they've had against each other, they don't really work very well together. But Koki and Nori is more of a match where I'm just like, I wonder how Koki does her stuff opposite Nori and how Nori does her stuff opposite Koki. So it is a bit more of a like intriguing, strange match that is like that has a like I don't know how that one will go. I agree. I think the day show is pretty good. I would
Yeah.
probably say that first Korkin is it the 916 show. Because yeah, I really like pretty much all of these matches. Even I mean, the way with the form my Sakurai's been in, I think that Kazuna match could be good. Even
Yeah.
I think Misamatsu and Chiaki work well together as well.
Yeah, I think I'm
Um,
I'm not as interested in the Utami Mirai one because I'm very worried they're gonna
mm,
embrace their worst aspects. If those two embrace their worst qualities, that's just a very boring match. Um, then I don't know, Matsu and Chiaki might be very basic. Depends.
yeah, that probably will
Um,
be a bit, but it's in Cork Hall.
yeah,
Everything's better in Cork Hall. Come on. Now.
that's true. That's true. That second Karkin is honestly pretty good too. I feel like that's
Yeah.
paced really well. So
Oh yeah. I
honestly,
mean,
there's no bad night. I mean, this tournament is ridiculous.
yes.
Let's all acknowledge that. When you have the 5 star that people were hating on an entire block, and you come to this, it's like, you know what? Wrestling's good. I like
Yeah.
it. I like this stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this tournament. I think Marigold. To a degree, they took a little bit of a break, maybe mentally, after the Sumo Hall show, because
Mm.
it felt like a lot of people were just kind of going through the motions. And it's time for them now again to say, hey, look, you're a real player, because they are a real player. Marigold is here to stay, and it is something to keep eyes on. So I think this
Yeah, and I
tournament is
think
their real chance to make a statement.
I think the way I'm looking at this tournament in a lot of senses is I don't know, and people will call me biased, and I will completely take that criticism. But I think I give this tournament a bit more benefit of the doubt than I gave the 5 star. Um, in that, like the lower wrestlers, I am hoping they have good tournaments, or they at least get their reps in and like improve. You know what I mean? Um, I'm looking at a lot of wrestlers in this tournament as Anna Jay, so to but they're obviously better than Anna Jay was going in. So I'm a bit more excited. Like where I'm
Yeah,
like a lot of them I'm like, with a Kazuna who as we've talked about has a bit of a rougher block for her personally. Um
yeah.
I'm just hoping she gets them reps in. I'm hoping she has a couple good matches, and then otherwise it's like if she can just like have a consistency to it, I'm cool. I mean, I don't need her to
Mm,
be insane. Same with Victoria Yuzuki for that matter. Same with Twin Tower. Honestly, I think those four especially are four that I like all four of them. I want them all to do well, but like if they don't, it's like it's your first time. The only of those four, the only person who has had round robin tournament experience is Kazuna, and it was in the young, which is a completely different animal.
yeah.
So like I really am kind of looking at a lot of this as like, hey, like if this is your shot to get better, I'm hoping you get better. And then like these upper card wrestlers, I think Shizuki's going to do a great job of helping out a Yuzuki, a Koki, a Chikagoto, right? I think Kazuna has a bit less help over there, but I think Kazuna and I will be a lot of fun. Kazuna Misa Matsui and Kazuna Sari. I think like there are like opportunities that I hope they can like show up. But I'm ultimately like not like I'm not ready to hand wave anybody in this company yet, which I think
That's fair. Yeah,
contributes to my excitement for it. Even if a Kazuna Tanaka doesn't do tremendously, or a Koki doesn't do tremendously, I'm still here for their improvement.
that's fair. That's fair. With that, I guess we should round it up.
Yeah.
We'll be obviously reviewing every step of the way with the tournament, and we'll be doing previews. We, as I said, we're releasing this after Stardom Quest. I don't know what we've said or done on Stardom Quest. We've probably previewed the first day, but maybe very briefly because Stardom itself is running one of their biggest shows in a while. Um, so this was our chance to really sit down and talk Marigold because we don't get to do that a lot. They haven't. We only really get to prioritize Marigold when they're doing stuff, and that hasn't really happened since Sumo Hall. But it is a fun promotion still to talk about. I think and
Yeah.
there's a lot of really exciting stuff, and hopefully on Stardom Quest we get to talk a little bit about the Gauntlet match and some of the stuff we got
Oh,
to
I'm
see
excited
because
to talk about the gauntlet.
yeah, I loved the Gauntlet, and I thought seeing Shino and Seri was really good. And you're like, this company has such a great future, as well as a great present. So, hopefully this is a fun tournament. I think
Also, the
tournaments are good.
one small thing about this that's great is that it's weekend shows pretty much exclusively. I think maybe the core can one of them
Yeah,
or two of them are maybe a Monday or Tuesday show or whatever. But it's mostly all weekend shows, and every single one of them will either be live or will be up by like a day before we usually record. Like they usually
yeah.
get up on Mondays nowadays. Um, I would hope maybe Tuesdays. We
Mhm.
might be
Who
we won't
knows?
be struggling with one or two of them, but it's looking like we'll be able to review every match. Hopefully, so that would be cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I hope you enjoyed. This is our third drop of the week, so you're probably sick of us by now. But we'll be back next week, and we'll discuss all this. But
Oh,
with
and check
that,
out the Arisa Nakajima No Limit Wrestling show. Should be out
yeah,
also this
the good
week.
stuff. Hopefully.
Yeah, Friday,
So
Saturday, or Sunday.
we should probably do the Marigold outro, right? Shine forever, Marigold. And do it.
Ijo. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
All right.
wait, which one do you want to say? I can say Shine Forever. You could say Marigoldo, and then Ijo.
I'll say
Is that
shine forever.
you
You
want to
say
say Shine
Marigold.
Forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if they do the if you want to stand thing. I don't think
They
they
don't.
do.
They don't.
Okay. All right. Got it. It's time to close the show. Shine forever.
It's not Marigold. It's Marigold.
Ijo.
Ijo.